Omen is an incredibly fun controller to play on the new Valorant map Abyss. There are off-map teleports you can go for, overpowered one-ways, flashes you can use to set up your duelists, and more. I'll be covering all of Omen's utility on basically every part of the map throughout this video, so make sure you watch all of it because you don't want to miss any tips. There's actually a bug with Omen and his smokes on this map I need to talk about first though, and that's specifically to do with the UI, or like this little world that it goes into here. Because you can see right here, that's where the wall appears to be, and then if I come out of the smoke mode, the wall's actually all the way over here. So the little smoke world of Omens isn't actually displaying properly. So if you go to throw a smoke and think, okay, yep, that's going to be in line with the wall, perfect. And then it actually turns out that, no, there's a gap here. And you'll notice this on quite a few places on the map, like I could probably just wander around and you can see, okay, here, this is where the end of the wall should be. And then in reality, in the smoke world, it says that end of the wall is here. So hopefully a few weeks after the map releases and by the time it's available in ranked, this should be fine. But if you are playing it right after release in unrated and stuff, that is just something to keep in mind, that his smokes are a little bit bugged. So yeah, we'll sort of split this video into two halves. The first half of this video is going to be attacking this Omen, showing you where to smoke, where you can flash for your team, where you can teleport across, stuff like that. And then the second half of this video, I'll just be switching the sides and showing you where to smoke on defense, one ways you can do, again, where to flash for your team, where to teleport, things like that. Yeah, starting off attacking towards the A side, you can see here's where the biophase barrier is going to be. And because of where the defenders start, they can actually cross safely into that corner. So if you find that the enemy team is fighting for this space a lot, what you might even want to do as Omen is start the round here and then just flash that straight away. You probably only want to do that in response to the enemy team actually taking the space. I wouldn't just start off doing that. So I think a better flash you can do as Omen is going to be basically this whole left side, making sure you clear those corners, like behind that box in that close left corner and back side. You can just tuck it right here, flash there, and you can see that's going to get that whole left side, including those two corners, which is where people probably want to like wrap from with shotguns. So I think that's a good flash. And then in terms of smoking on this side, that is going to be the main and the obvious one. You always want to have that smoked off, so you can clear off this heaven angle for the defenders. So that's definitely your main smoke. And then for your other smoke, I feel like you've got three main options. The first one is going to be putting it towards the left side back here. You do want to make sure it's pretty far back if you do this one, so they can't spam whoever's planting. I don't think this is my favorite one, but it might end up being something you default to. In a perfect world, what you'd be able to do is get your smoke all the way back here. However, you know, the defenders can still have all this space. They might not even back up that far. So in order to get this smoke and actually make it work, you'll need to be using other utility to take all this space. You know, have your flash come in, get a raise nade back here or something like that. Or what you can also do is throw a smoke like here. Now you do want to leave it out on the bridge like that, because I'll show you one thing you can do. And this teleport is a little bit hard to pull off because then you get like towards the max range of it. But you can jump off the edge like so, TP across into the smoke. I think I wasn't quite deep enough into the smoke that time, but you can see the idea that I'm going for here. If you throw this smoke like consistently every round, the team's not going to think anything of it. When it comes in, it's like, okay, he smoked off the bridge like usual. And then you can come across potentially, you know, jump off the map like so, teleport into that smoke, and then just come through here like so. You can try to go for that play in some of your rounds. Another thing you can do in this area as Omen is teleport on top of this box. That's actually going to be really useful if the defenders just smoke this off with a normal dome smoke, because as you can see, once you're on top of this box, that smoke isn't very high. So you can pretty easily see into that back right area on top of the box, towards default, that sort of thing. So that's something you consider doing as Omen. Now once you've actually taken the side itself, you know, you're getting ready to get the bomb down, whatever, I think that is going to be the best possible place to plant it. However, you know, default there, it works as well. Those will be the main spots you're planning this swipe, but I do also want to point out that getting a smoke on top of this box can actually be a very, very strong one-way, because that height there is practically perfect, you can see. If I'm in here trying to defuse a spike, I can't see anything going around me. Whereas, you know, if you're far away from the smoke, you can obviously see the feet of whoever's defusing. Actually, putting it right on the edge might be a little bit close, so I want to put it, you know, a little bit further on top of the box. Because you're doing something like that, it's going to be much more effective. You can really, really easily see the feet here. So just pick up the spike again one more time. If on some occasions you might find yourself wanting to take this space, or even, you know, planting it right on this corner. So say you've got the bomb there. Oops. Got the bomb there. You're planning for main. And then, you know, I've lost it. Then put your smoke like there, something like that. If you're playing all the way back from main, you've now just got this one way where they can't see where they're looking, they're trying to defuse. You've got no idea what's going on, and you have a pretty clear shot on them. Now, after you've taken the side itself, you might want to try to take a little bit more space towards a link, either security or heaven. I think security isn't too important. This very much reminds me of, you know, alley on Sunset. You know, you got the smoke here, a little corner they can tuck in on the right, and there goes towards their spawn. I wouldn't worry too much about this. Not because that's bad to take, but heaven is just going to be so much more important. And if you can take this space, you know, if you maybe get like a Phoenix flash up in here, KO flash, Sky flash, if you just get someone on your team to maybe flash through your smoke and help you fight this, having this area is going to be so powerful because of the one ways you can do here. There's a really tough one to get here. There's just a tiny layer. But this one way is just going to be so strong. You can see the defender's trying to come through here. They just can't see anything, right? They've got no idea what's going on. Whereas if you're back here on Omen, this is just free, right? You've just got this massively important area of the map. This one way just makes it so easy for you to hold. Alternatively, and a little bit easier, you can just throw it, you know, along that yellow bar there. You have to be standing around where I am here, or just, you know, you can see where I'm placing it, roughly around that area. This one isn't quite as good because as enemies coming up underneath, they might be able to crouch and see where you're playing from, sort of. You know, still you can throw that one way, stand in this corner, and that way you're also pretty ready to fight anyone that comes through that vent from mid. So I'd really recommend trying to take this space on A side if you can as Omen. While I'm here, I will quickly show off something in A link as well, because again, there are going to be one ways you can do. This one is really thin. You can see you can get it right there. So that's going to be straight into defender spawn. Here's what they can see. So if you're playing on this ramp, you know, they can't see you at all. I actually really like this angle, honestly, because not only are you holding the one way, this is basically where their head's going to be if they're coming through here. That's a pretty solid angle to play as Omen. And then this one, I can't see working too often, but I figured it's worth mentioning. This one way itself is, you know, very high up. For the most part, that's not going to do much for you. But you can play on top of this box. You can see, like so, that'll sort of work as a one way. You know, if you've got a teammate already holding this space for you, you don't have to worry about this. You can try that. I think that's probably very situational, but you know, while I was here, I figured it was worth mentioning. Right, now move on to attacking the B site. Once again, here's where the biophase barriers are. So if you find the enemy is taking this space a lot, you can just tuck yourself in this corner and be ready to throw an Omen flash there as soon as the round starts. You know, if they're pushing, you can try doing that. Otherwise, there is a really nice flash you can do on site, which I will show you now. So you come through here, especially be pretty easy here. So you'll be typically taking your first fire, you know, maybe clearing these angles. And then a really good flash you can do is going to be this whole area on the right. You know, if you tuck yourself into this corner, one thing you want to make sure you're hitting as well is anyone potentially standing on this box. You want to make sure you're getting that as well if you can. So do that. You want to be standing in this corner, aiming roughly there. Then you just throw that. That'll clear out hopefully that box and this whole area as well. I will say that smoking this site on Omen doesn't feel very good because, you know, the smoke you'll do for heaven, sure you can, you know, you'll just throw that one as your attacking smoke for heaven, but they still have all of this area they can work with technically. So like that's what you'll do, but it's not really that good. And then even for your other smoke on attack, you know, what you'll probably be most inclined to do is throw something like that. And I think that's probably what you should do, but defenders still have all this space, which is why I think that flash that I showed you is so important. So what you might do, you know, the round starts off, okay, you throw your first smoke up there, throw your second smoke in that little gap right there, and then as your duelists get up to maybe around that point, you can throw that flash for them on the right side and clear out all those angles. They can, you know, satchel up, draft up, put everyone who's flashed there, and that's probably what you'll do for the B site. Another thing you can do though, if you want to come up the stairs towards this nest area, because if they're holding this angle really well, you know, maybe from up there, there's a lot of places they can hold that angle from. What you can do is teleport across. They obviously won't be able to hear you from all the way back there, and then you can surprise them from this left side and maybe catch them off guard. There is one smoke variation which I don't love, but I figured it was worth mentioning. You can potentially try smoking this off. That way, you know, the enemies, they can't actually stand on here themselves. And then what you might want to do is come up right here, throw a flash, teleport up, and then just try killing anyone who's now in this area. You might even be able to take this space, get yourself up in that corner as well. That's another idea to think of, maybe for a smoke, but I think the default one's is going to be there. And then in heaven, you just have to be really careful about this whole area because the defenders can very easily walk out of that smoke. In terms of default and planning the bomb on this site, I think that corner is obviously going to be default. And once again, we do actually have another nice one-way spot. This box is pretty much the same as the one on A. It's basically the perfect one-way hide. If you do it right on the edge, it might be a little bit too close. So put it a little bit into the box, and you can now see from all the way back here. We've got a nice angle, a nice little one-way on it. And actually from here, you can't quite see, but no. From here it's going to work. From here it's going to work. And then anyone who is on this smoke trying to defuse the bomb, they can't see anything. They've got no idea what's going on. The same thing will also apply to back here, for example. You know, maybe you want to find that bomb against that wall, put the one-way there, and then you could try and play it all the way back here. You can see there's that one-way. You can clearly see them defusing the spike, and again, they have no idea what's going on. Same thing applies for anywhere along this wall. However, I will point out that if you're playing back here, you can't really see there. If you find it there, it might not work. So that's you playing it, planting it, sorry, all the way back towards there. And you can sort of see. But I think the best options are either going to be all the way back in this corner.
Drop the spike.
Again, if you put that one way
Going out.
right there, I think that should still reach the corner if they're crouching and defusing. Yeah. So that's a good one way for that corner. And then you can plant, or, you know, play the post plant from back here. Or that other one I was showing.
Drop the spike.
And that's one right there. Smoke on top right there. Beautiful one way. I do also sort of have another niche plant spot on B with a one way. And that is going to be right there underneath the bridge. And when you'll want to be doing this is, let's say you can tell a lot of the defenders are flanking you, they're all behind you. You want to be playing sort of in towards this B link area here, or if you know you're going to be forced to play here, what you can do is plant the spike roughly there under the bridge. So if you just drop a smoke on top of that bridge like so, you know, get it roughly around there. You can see this is going to be another really strong one way where you're on the bomb, you just can't see anything, you've got no idea. Whereas again, if you are forced into this B link area, it is a powerful one way and post plant spot you can try and go for. In terms of taking further space on B as an attacker, there aren't as many one ways and stuff you can do compared to the other side. This will be where the defenders are mostly coming through from, and you can see there isn't really anything you can do or work with in terms of one ways. If you do take this space, it'll just be a normal smoke there. However, towards mid, there is going to be a one way. You can obviously see right towards that little fish tank. Throw that there, and then the enemies aren't going to be able to walk through that easily. You know, you can maybe hold it from here, or even all the way back here. That's a decent one way you can do. Normal smoke there, but I think in general, Omen's smokes towards B aren't quite as good. And I'll touch on that more when I get to defending this part of the map. I will quickly go over attacking mid, and you can see the attackers start all the way back here, whereas if I go into ghost mode, the defenders are going to have a lot of space to work with already. So they're going to start all the way here. They can potentially shift walk even up to this box before you can even, you know, get up there to see them. They have all of this space as well. So taking this space on mid might be a little bit rough on Omen, but what your best option to do probably is going to be smoking off either there. That's going to be good, obviously. Clearly blocks that off. And it's a little bit of a problem here because this is where they actually come from, but they can also sit back here towards this top mid area. And if you try and smoke both of them off, it's just not quite going to work, unfortunately. If you do this, and see, okay, this is smoked offshore, but now top mid can very, very easily see over this smoke. So you'll probably have to commit to smoking one or the other. There's not really a way to smoke both of them. Unless, of course, you know, you throw one smoke there and one smoke there, and then just be exposed to this side and have to worry about fighting that instead. I will quickly talk about Omen's ult on attack as well. One place you might want to consider ulting into is going to be vents if your team is hitting A. I'm not sure how easy it's going to be for them to hear you come into here, but what you could potentially do, you know, take the space, and as your team's coming in, you can flash out of here, 3 bullets to break this, and then you can see you could potentially take heaven that way for your team if you want to ult in like that. So what you might even consider doing is, if you practice it in a custom, is actually preemptively get that one way up, the one way I showed you before, then get your flash ready, flash out into this area, fight it, and that could be how you take this space and get that one way set up. Other than that, I don't think there are crazy ultimate spots. Like, technically you can ult onto this ledge as Omen. You are just going to be very exposed when you do this though, so I don't think that's going to be a great option. Maybe ulting onto here as an attacker, getting into this spot, you might want to try considering that, but otherwise, I don't think there's crazy ult spots for Omen on attack. That was attacking, but now let's talk about defending. First of all, on the A side, if you want to aggress into A main, there are 2 ways you can do that. First, if you're just playing for yourself and doing your own thing, you can TP across like so. They will obviously hear that, but you know, you can get across here, play this sort of angle. Then once you get them used to that, and you've conditioned them to it, you can even start faking a TP at the start of the round, and they'll be wasting time, wasting util, trying to clear out that corner. So that's if you're playing in A main by yourself. However, if you have a teammate pushing A main, there's a really nice flash you can do. Obviously, the attackers are going to start back there, so you can start off in heaven, and you can see this flash pretty much takes up the whole A main sort of lobby area here where they'll be coming through. So you can just throw that like so, really nice blind, then your Jet can dash in, Raze can satchel in, and potentially have some free kills there. Now the default A main smoke is just going to be this one. However, there is a slight problem with it. There's nothing you can actually do about it, but it's worth noting that any defender can sort of stand here, see over there, and see back there as well, because the attackers also have some elevation here. They can come up, stand on top of this box, see anyone playing on top of there, you know, on that box. I'll just throw it one more time. Yeah, you can see you can get up high here. You can even go on top of that box like I showed earlier. So there's a lot of different ways to get over this smoke. So one thing you might want to consider doing instead is just throwing a smoke, or a one-way, sorry, on top of that box right there. So see the enemies as they're walking underneath. So ideally, you know, you'll be all the way back here, taking shots at them, and then once they're past that one way, maybe re-smoking a main and repositioning to better hold the site. What you might even consider doing is Omen, and this is a big might. You might throw one smoke there and then another smoke over there. So this way the attackers don't have this to work with. You know, it's potential, something you can try doing. And then for retaking A in general, again, getting this heaven space is going to be so important. If the attackers don't take it, you've got a very, very easy flash down here. Or, you know, you can even get across here. Just look at all the space. You can just flash in there. Maybe you can flash that left side. You can flash the middle. You can flash where I showed earlier. And someone can push up and take that space, all while you're trying to defuse the bomb. If you don't want to come through heaven and instead want to come through security or CT, similar thing as attack, you know, you can just flash this whole area right there. Is going to be pretty good. You maybe even try to get some of default as well in case someone's still planting there. And of course, there is going to be this jump you can make as anyone. That's going to be possible. As Omen, I don't think it's going to make much difference, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you might be able to, you can try get all the way here. They might not expect it. You know, if all the attackers are just sitting in there, spraying the bomb, maybe you want to try throwing in a flash, jumping in, teleporting, something like that. Could be worth trying. Otherwise though, I think that is just about everything when it comes to defending the A side. When it comes to defending B though, the smokes get a little bit weird because you'll see this and your first instinct is just going to be, okay, I'll smoke it like here, perfect, done, good to go. But there's actually going to be this gap on the right side. So that default smoke isn't quite going to work. Otherwise you'll leave this giant gap, which, you know, we just clearly don't want. And so instead you have to place this smoke pretty perfectly, to be honest. You can see you'll want it to be sort of getting both the walls, like touching both the walls a little bit, sort of in the middle. Also towards the higher part of this ramp as well, so it doesn't fall down too much. Something like there is probably going to be your ideal smoke, roughly on Omen. You can see there, okay, now that part is blocked. That part is blocked there as well. But even with that smoke, you know, if you're playing up here as heaven, you can't see down at them, but that means they can see back at you as well. So Omen smoke doesn't quite work, once again, in that main area, similar to A. And especially when you take Nest into consideration. If I just throw that smoke or a similar smoke once again, you know, the attackers very, very easily can see over this. So the dome smoke isn't quite going to perfectly cover that area. And so what you might want to consider is even just at the start of the round, if you're defending this, you might want to take this space early. What you could do is smoke that off and then flash there where the attackers are coming through and sort of take this space. So you don't even have to worry about that wonky smoke. You know, you can just smoke that off. Take this space instead. Maybe even if you're feeling really aggressive, teleport up into that smoke. Tuck yourself into this corner, because you'll see when the smoke drops that, you know, you have this window you can see sort of down into being main down there. Push up here maybe. But I do think this nest smoke is going to be important. And one thing you can even do with that nest smoke is if it's blocked off, you can try going for this very, very adventurous teleport on defense. I'm not sure how often it's actually going to work out, but you know, you can jump off here, teleport deep over there, and sit behind this box. They probably will hear you doing that. So I don't know how much success you're going to have doing this alone. You might want to combo with, you know, maybe an initiator flashing down, maybe a duelist pushing. But that is something you can do, you know. I'd smoke off nest first, they don't see you. Then just jump off from here. Teleport as deep across as you can. Oh my god, I actually made it into... What? I made it into heaven that time. I didn't even know that was possible. I've been testing this one a lot, and I've never made it that far. But
cover going out.
Clearly it is possible. You just saw me do it. I teleported all the way into nest. It didn't quite make it that time, but yeah, you can teleport pretty deep, pushing B as Omen. So that's a pretty exciting play that you can go for, even if it might not work all the time. Otherwise, in terms of retaking B, I think one flash will go for a lot. Just sort of retaking all this heaven space back and also under heaven. So, you know, you'll stand here, flash there, and that'll get anyone that's taking your heaven space. Even standing in those corners, underneath, stuff like that. That'll probably be the main flash you go for. You know, there's nothing else really jumping out at me here as a great spot to flash as Omen. And when it comes to defending mid as Omen, like I was showing you earlier, the friends have a lot of space to work with. You know, as soon as this bi-phase barrier drops, you can probably knife out, shift walk across, and get to this box. Now I want to consider playing from here, and then that way, if you hit them coming through bottom mid, you can just flash and take up that whole space. Then in terms of smoking, this one's very, very simple. Obviously, you're going to smoke off top mid, catwalk. I guess that's, sorry, top mid's back there. So if you want to smoke off cat, you can just smoke it like that. If you want to smoke off bottom mid, just smoke it like that. That is going to be investing both your smokes into mid, but you know, it's something you can do. And then your flash, again, like I was sort of showing there, it's going to work very well on these narrow laneways in mid. You know, you can sit here. If you hear them running across cat, you can just flash like so, they'll all be blind. And then finally, in terms of Omen ulting on defense, I think a lot of the same stuff as usual. You know, just going to their spawn, whatever. There is one spot I do really like the look of, and that is going to be sort of here into this mid bend area. Because, you know, you just teleport sort of roughly where I'm being there. And then, you know, they'll hear you ult and hopefully think, oh, okay, he's just now spawn, whatever. when in reality you actually now have this really nice angle up into the B main area as, you know, a defender. You can come into here, maybe get a duelist push down B main at the same time. You can flash out of here, so even if they're looking at you, they'll be blind. That's probably the only spot I found that's a defender that's like crazy to teleport to. Nothing else is like revolutionary with your ultimate. But again, there was a lot of creativity with Omen's normal TP. You can do it like I was showing off, but I think that pretty much covers everything I found on this map so far as Omen. You know, all the different smokes, the one-ways, the flashes, teleports, stuff like that. Hopefully you did find all of it useful. So let me know if you did. And also, let me know if there is anything else you want to see me cover on Abyss. I think I'll do a lore / Easter egg type of video soon as well. But if there are any other agents you're desperate to see stuff for, I'm probably going to try all of them on this map and do a big video going over like little tips for every agent. But yeah, let me know if that's something you would like to see or what agents you want to see in general.